like we supposed to.
Let's do it.
All right.
Welcome.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of Urban Retcon Squad. It is our comic book, nerd-based, life-based, fuck you and everything you stand for show here on ToneDef Radio. Tonight, I'm joined by, of course, my co-host, my right-hand man, my brother from another mother, Mr. Young, Fresh, and Fly. And I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but here on ToneDef Radio, we've been really reaching out to a lot of other people and expanding the family above and beyond the people we've been working with. And I came across a couple of guys in a group of black nerds, ironically. And me and this gentleman chopped it up for about a week. And after listening to his podcast on YouTube and realized we have so much in common, I had to invite the Adventures of the Black Nerds to come a part of the ToneDef Radio family. And this evening, I'm going to be joined by one half of the organization, Mr. Baron Jones, a.k.a. Baron Jones, who is definitely a major player in this video game comic book world. So what's going on, guys?
Man, what is up, man? Oh my gosh, that was a hell of an intro. I feel special right now. Not even gonna lie.
You on air with greatness between me and Juan. Like this is dopeness. This is basically the Def Fresh show on the nerd side of things. If you have never listened to the Def Fresh show, people, it comes on every Thursday. We usually talk a lot of hip hop, a lot of movies, a lot of reality, but sometimes we don't dive into like the comics like we want to. With the fact that Marvel and DC are rampant in the movie scenes, we feel that people sometimes need to learn a little bit about what's going on in the comic book side of things to help people better understand some of the stuff that we tend to dive into. Lately, we've been reading comic books heavy, thanks to our secret library source of digital comics that has changed the world for us, most definitely. So now I don't have to always go to the store to buy comics, especially the ones we don't care about. We can now just download it, read it. If we don't like it, delete it, move on with our lives.
Obtain the knowledge.
Right, and then just move on with it. Or if you just want to dive in, check out a storyline real quickly, read a trade paperback, get rid of it because you just want to know so you be prepared for the next movie coming out. That's what we use the source for. And that's what we're going to do for you tonight. We're going to go ahead and dive into a favorite of the world that people don't realize how old and how deep it is. It is the Judas contract. But before we actually dive into the Judas contract, we're going to go ahead and open up tonight's show with the Epic Battle of the Week. Epic Battle of the Week is where we take two comic book characters and we pit them against each other and we choose who we feel would win and why.
Ooh.
All right. So it took me a while to decide which two people I wanted to go ahead and start tonight's epic battle with. And with the fact of the Marvel cinema movie being major with the Infinity War, I felt that we got to take somebody from that movie to kick off tonight. But I had to find someone who I felt was going to be worthy to actually go to war with him. So tonight, the epic battle is the Winter Soldier versus Jason Todd, aka the Red Hood.
Ooh.
Okay. Now, Juan, me and you kind of talked about this yesterday because I gave you the backstory of the Red
We
Hood.
did, but that ain't who you asked me yesterday.
I know. I asked you somebody else. I changed it up. After the
How you gonna
conversation.
ask me last night's question and then repost it here, but change it? Now I feel
Because
like my answer don't even count no more. Now
no,
I
you
gotta answer the question all over again.
okay. No. Okay. All right. Let's do this. Who did I put out last night?
You said who would win
Yes,
between
right.
the
I
Winter
gave you some.
Soldier
I gave.
and Deathstroke.
Okay. Let's make it
Oh,
a
that would
let's
be fun too.
let's make it a Mexican standoff then. The Winter Soldier,
Ooh.
Okay, we'll add the Red Hood.
Deathstroke, Red Hood. Go for it.
Who
Start
gonna
with you.
start?
Juan.
I'm still gonna go. I'm still gonna go with my nigga Deathstroke. I'm
Still
going
going
with
with Stroke.
Deathstroke.
Why are you going with Stroke?
Yeah. I feel like he's the more tactical of the three, and the other two are kind of like loose cannons. From what I've seen, what they do in the comic book world, they're pretty much loose cannons. Especially Red Hood. You don't give a fuck about nothing. I saw that cartoon on Netflix. He's savage.
True.
Savage.
True. All right. What about you, Baron? Who do you choose between the three?
Okay, I'm gonna argue just to play devil's advocate because I'm gonna be honest. I really feel Deathstroke will win just on the fact that he's the only one that doesn't care about anything in terms of any ties. But
Okay.
Red Hood, even though he is a savage at heart, but let's be honest, he was still raised under Batman,
True.
and he still has that whole code, and that'll be the one thing. And we all know from the Omega Protocol, even Batman had his one thing. That's the way you get him. Pull at his heartstrings, get a friend, take somebody he cares about hostage, and he'll fold somehow, some way. He still may try to come out on top, but Deathstroke, there's nothing to hold over him.
Well, and we'll dive into that a little bit deeply as we get into tonight's conversation because there is something you could hold over him. Okay, and a lot of
Yeah.
people don't know that. A lot of people don't know that. All right, and you know what, Baron? It's not going to be what you think it is. All right, you know what? To add to the mix, I do have to agree with Deathstroke is definitely that dude. I mean, he was trained in the League of Assassins.
Mm,
Um, so he does have that I don't care mentality, but I'm gonna have to go with Hood as well. Okay, as
mm.
dope as Bucky is old.
Yeah, he getting them hands.
he he missed he missed he missed. So this is some serious training that he missed out on there right there. He does got Wakanda tech, so that gives him an advantage over everybody else. But
But we know
overall,
Groot.
go ahead.
We know the raccoon gonna take his arm.
Yeah, we know his arm gonna get stolen. So I got to go with Hood because unlike Batman, he doesn't have a restraint. Okay, if you go based off of before New 52, Red
Okay.
Hood, or before Rebirth, Red Hood. Yeah, he was savage because his mind was a little twisted. If you're trained by Batman, that literally means you've also been trained by the League of Assassins. But unlike Deathstroke, he's taken that trigger out of him, and whatever Red Hood is doing, he's doing for a purpose. So that same I'm a Batman's son, which could hinder him, is also the reason why he'll be prepared for everything. The Deathstroke Red Hood would definitely be something I would like to see. It's going to be a lot of gadgets. It's going to be a lot of trickery. It's going to be a lot of bullets flying. But I got to go with my boy Hood. Because at the end of the day, he got to stay alive long enough to kill the Joker, and he's not going to let nobody stop him from doing that.
Facts.
Facts. All right, so rolling into tonight's topic because we're going to keep this a standard show. Normally, we do shows, 90 minutes. Kind of don't want to do a 90-minute setup just yet. We'll just stay with a standard 60-minute show tonight. So tonight's topic is all about the Judas contract. For those of you people who don't know what the Judas contract is, it's actually an epic series in the origin of the Teen Titans that has actually literally gone across every incarnation of the Titans. So whether you like the animated series, you like the movie, even if you like Teen Titans Go in one shape or form, the Judas contract storyline has come up. This is also the reason why the current Teen Titans squad that we are so familiar with, the one of Raven, Beast Boy, Starfire, Robin, and Cyborg, they are actually, this group was all created around the time that this particular storyline was first created. The key thing about this storyline was a young lady named Terra, which, of course, across all three versions of the Teen Titans, she has appeared, is a young lady who is lost. She, in the beginning of the comics, is actually running from something, but we never know exactly what she's running from. Beast Boy goes out and tries to help her, eventually leading to her becoming part of the Teen Titans and eventually betraying the Teen Titans. So, Baron, I know you just recently caught up in the reading in regards to
Yes.
this. What do you feel about the story once you got done reading it?
You know what? I loved how gritty it was. You know, that's always something that's lost in translation, because for me, I grew up watching the show. Right. You know, the Teen Titans, not Teen Titans Go, but the Teen Titans cartoon, the first one that came out. So seeing it all play out there, and then getting some more backstory on Terra, and seeing her, she's basically an earthly god with her abilities, but and just seeing how gritty she was. I could just picture her talking with like some crazy New York accent, dragging cigarettes, just vicious. She hated the fact that the Teen Titans were do-gooders, like truly, and they didn't embody that in any of the shows. So seeing that in the comic books, and seeing that she felt that they were supposed to just take over and be the best and be on top,
right?
That was something that was lost.
Right. Now, for those of you who don't know, Tara's backstory, which I had to read other episodes before we got into the Judas contract to figure this out, she's actually a descendant of royalty.
Yep.
She's a descendant of royalty. She actually also has a brother who goes by the name of Geoforce, who has the exact same powers similar to hers. She always felt that, being the fact that these two are the DC version of Earthbenders, should actually be the one running things. They should be in charge. They should be running things. They should be taking over. And the brother didn't feel this way. I can't remember if she killed her parents or somehow the parents got killed, but the story that she ran with when she eventually met Beast Boy was her parents were kidnapped. The whole thing was she was looking for her parents and she was looking for the people that captured her. And as the Teen Titans were working to help her find her parents, her story kept evolving from the goons to everything down to her parents got killed in the whole 9 yards. Also, this story introduced one of the three guys we just talked about in our epic battle was Deathstroke. A lot of people don't know that Deathstroke actually was, in so many words, born in the Teen Titans. Now, the comics, of course, always has more story than anything you'll ever see in the animated series or in the cartoons. One thing that a lot of people don't know is Robin is not the one who put this band of Teen Titans together. It was actually Raven. Raven put this group of Teen Titans together simply because he did not want to have to hold Trigon, which she had trapped in her gym, by herself. She needed a support system to let her know that no matter what goes on, she can always be good. And the five became friends, and they also added two other members, Wally West, which is the Flash, and Donna Troy, which she served no purpose other than being a knockoff Wonder Woman.
Yes.
And that's another conversation, because that whole story is creepy about the Donna Troy situation. All right, so Baron, you came up with some information earlier that you discovered while researching about this whole triangle of nonsense. What did you find out? Because I don't want to about the whole show.
Okay, so the craziest thing that I found out was that Deathstroke is R. Kelly incarnate. And when I say that,
what?
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Let him explain. It makes sense. What you don't know.
Deathstroke.
Oh man.
So Terra. So what people need to know is the Teen Titans are literally teens. Like, that's not just they're the small version. No, they're teenagers. So Terra is probably 15, 16 at this time, if that.
She was
And
15
she's knocking boots with Deathstroke.
Yep.
Like, and it's not even a bad. They don't even put a major spotlight on it. That's just something. She's very hypersexual, and she's knocking boots with Deathstroke now. And then she's a big time. She's a hitman for him. She's a total monster. She's a sociopath. It's totally creepy the way she flips back and forth in between her time with the Titans and her time with Deathstroke.
Facts. So one particular part of the story was the only reason why we personally find out that Terra is working with Deathstroke is because during an altercation when Deathstroke kind of attacks the Titans, immediately after that attack, Terra went to go see Deathstroke. She went to go see Deathstroke not to find out what stage we are in the plan, but she went to go see him because seeing him that day turned him on, and she needed to release some stress.
Yep.
Yo, what the fuck is going on in the world of comic books?
Now, ironically is if you actually watch the Teen Titans Judas Contract animated movie, they kind of touched on it in a small manner, a very, very small manner, where she is at Destro's house one night after yelling at the boy about trying to follow her, and they don't show it as if they did anything, but they do show her in like a nightie coming towards Deathstroke while he is working on the computer, making the plans for the next step. Now,
yeah, this gives a whole new meaning to the name Deathstroke, don't it?
Oh, damn.
You would ruin it. You would ruin it.
This is
Now,
Deathstroke, and he's knocking down a 15-year-old. Oh God.
Now, speaking of knocking, one thing I actually also noticed in the comic book version was Beast Boy was super creepy. Like,
yeah,
he was, and I have to remind myself they are teenagers. So, but Beast Boy thought with his other head 97% of the time when it came to dealing with Tara. So a lot of times when Tara was spazzing and was acting out, it was because she was sick of his shit. Because from the moment he met her, he basically had been trying to get in her pants. But the problem was with Beast Boy was not that he was trying to get in her pants, but he was always in some form of an animal when he was trying to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, when they were even training in the field, you're right.
Yeah.
So piggybacking on that, when they were training, he was straight out like taunting her to a point to where even Raven was like mentally warning him, like, bro, stall out.
And that's because Raven could sense something was not right with Tara, but because she had just recently obtained Trigon in her crystal, she couldn't tell whether it was Trigon messing with her mentally or if Tara was really giving off this bad vibe. Okay? Now, after about a year of being in the Titans and she gaining their trust, they literally threw her not only a birthday party, but a 1-year anniversary party, really saying, hey, we are down. You're down with us. We cool with you. We want you to, be a part of the family. We want to make this official. She went to Deathstroke with the keys of who everybody was, because at this point in time, they revealed who they are to her. She went to Deathstroke with the keys of who everybody was, what their weaknesses was, and basically told Deathstroke, at the end of the day, Raven is mine. I have to take out Raven. I personally see no reason why
so
you
this bitch a turncoat.
she was
Man,
she was a plant the whole time. She
the
was a plant the
whole
whole
time.
Okay. What it was, and you don't kind of find out until later, the whole reason why all of this was happening was Deathstroke had 2 kids. Okay. One particular kid, you remember his name, Baron? Not Jericho, but the other one.
Oh my God, he was blonde. All I can think of is the blonde kid in the picture.
Right.
I can't remember his name for anything.
Right. So let's just say Deathstroke's son number 1.
You're right.
Deathstroke's son number 1 initially had a contract that he had to take out the Teen Titans. Being the fact that Deathstroke didn't want that tarnished part to his name, Deathstroke picked up the contract. Okay? So because his son failed at doing what he was supposed to, Deathstroke took the contract, and this is how this whole entire plan started. Okay? He's seeing the possibility of being able to get in and take out the Teen Titans, but he wanted to do it strategically. He wanted to do it clean because he did not need to kill them. There was a purpose for them. Okay? Hive and Brother Blood actually needed the Titans because they wanted to take their powers, so he couldn't kill them. Terra gave me to set up everything. Now, the funniest thing in the world, and I did not realize this in the animated movie until I rewatched it recently, the way he took out every single Titan in the comic book, he did it the exact same way in the movie. Okay? Now, being the fact that you had Raven, who was already targeted by Terra to be eliminated, she was already taken care of by Terra. Cyborg, because he's still part of the Teen Titans in the comics, and it was Blue Beetle in the animated series, was electrocuted.
The chair.
Yep, the chair took him out, which was actually in the comics. Beast Boy, how'd they get Beast Boy?
Oh my gosh, Beast Boy was. Damn it! Why you gotta put me on the spot? Beast Boy.
On the spot.
Well, see, the only one who got away was Dick. Dick Grayson got away.
I will not call him by his government name.
Dick got away.
No. Senor Meats was on the run.
Here's the thing, and this is what's wrong with comic book people. Because his name was Dick, if you actually read any comics with Grayson in it, they constantly make Dick jokes, but you don't catch it right away. It was constant Dick jokes. It was constant Dick jokes. And I still laugh about that. So, in the comics, one thing that a lot of people didn't know was at this time, Robin did not want to be Robin anymore.
Grown ass man.
He was a grown
running around
man.
in little tights.
You did. Tom Dude outfit was very fugazi. Very fugazi. Even in Teen Titans, they read about the elf outfit. He didn't want to be that person anymore. So he actually didn't have a title. He actually had quit the Teen Titans at the time. So when he got attacked by Deathstroke, because Deathstroke came at him directly, he got away. He had to go get a new identity. He had to go get a new costume. And that's where the name Nightwing actually was born. So thanks to Judas contract, we got a psychopathic, teenage-loving R. Kelly serial killer with one eye, and we got Nightwing. So we got good and bad.
Man. Hey, ain't it a trip? I didn't know that's how he lost his eye. Because, they always portray him with one eye. They've always, even in the cartoon, that rolled over to the cartoon. But the fact, it's clearly spoiler. We're just spoiling like crazy for you good folks. His wife takes his eye.
Yeah.
Because she was a badass.
Yeah.
She was actually his general.
Yeah.
Yeah, his wife was his general. And she found out about him being an assassin, and she went for the kill. And his crazy quick reflexes only where it took out his eye.
Right.
So in order for this nigga to bone underage sleuths, he had to sacrifice an eye.
Or maybe Tara wasn't his first underage chick.
Ooh.
maybe the wife found out about previous ones and took his
Ooh.
eye.
You weren't there, man. You weren't there.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, dog definitely on his R. Kelly swag.
God, walking around, and then they made him all gray too. Like it's
I'm just saying.
this old buffed out Colonel Sanders.
Okay,
out
so
here
okay, so
sliding in those
here's a
chicks'
question.
DMs.
Here's a question that I have.
Okay.
Since he was here before, is that why Deadpool is so fucked up? Because Deathstroke was fucked up, so they figured they fucked Deadpool up just as bad as they fucked Dog up, since he was much more than a copy.
All right. So not
Apparently,
really.
Deathstroke was here first.
And that is an ongoing joke. That is a joke in the new Teen Titans Go movie that's coming out because he keeps bringing up the fact that he was here first. Deadpool is Marvel, and he's messed up for a completely different reason, though.
No, but I'm saying though, like, because we all know, like, when you look at DC comics and then you look at Marvel comics, there's superheroes that are all the superheroes to me are similar in some way, form, or fashion, because somebody got the idea from somewhere first.
Facts.
True.
And if you look at Deadpool, you look at Deathstroke, it's clearly a copy and paste job, just like when they made Mortal Kombat. It's like, Smoke is now Rain and Sub-Zero and Scorpion and Reptile, just different colors.
True.
Different color palette.
True.
Yeah, right, color, just different colors. It's all the same person.
It could be. Now, with you saying it like that, and if you're going to do that cross comparison between the two, yeah, I can see that they had a Deathstroke, but to make fun of DC, they make him crazy. They make
To the
him
max.
comical, and they make him break the fourth wall, which, contrary to popular belief, Deadpool is the first one to do it, but he's not the best one to do it. Gwen Stacy as Spider-Gwen is the best fourth wall breaker, hands down.
See, now you gave me something else to read.
All new,
gotta
all
ask.
different. Yeah.
I gotta ask, off topic. Did Spider-Man accidentally kill Gwen?
Okay. So
This is serious.
It is. It's
How do you
serious.
accidentally kill a person?
Here's
It's
why.
very serious.
Did you see the second Spider-Man trilogy?
I loved Andrew Garfield, man.
Yeah.
I thought he was badass.
Did you see the second Spider-Man trilogy one?
You talk about like actual movie?
The actual movie. Yeah.
I think they called it The Amazing Spider-Man.
Man, when my nigga Tobey Maguire didn't come back, I was kind of distraught. I didn't want to watch Spider-Man.
All right. So if you would have watched that one, you would have realized there's a particular scene in the second movie. Yeah, in the second movie, I think it was, where Gwen Stacy in this particular series of The Amazing Spider-Man is actually Peter Parker's girlfriend, not Mary Jane, which has always been a thing in comics. Like, he's either with one or the other. He's worse than Archie. He's worse than Archie. He is. But so what happened was the Green Goblin actually kidnapped Gwen Stacy and dropped her off the top of the bridge. Was it the Brooklyn Bridge? It's one of those bridges.
In the movie, it was the tower. It was the bell tower.
Yeah. But in the comics, it was a bridge.
It was Yep.
And that's how she died. So technically, Spider-Man actually killed her. And if I'm not mistaken, in the comics, for a brief moment in time, he was actually going to stop being Spider-Man because of that.
They even touched on it in the movie. She made a recording for him.
Yeah.
Basically telling him to keep going because he was ready to walk away.
Yep.
And what's so trippy about that? What I loved about that Spider-Man the most, and this probably could have been more or less the director, is they acknowledged how strong he was. It was always inherent in the other ones, but here he was breaking everything. He had to learn how to refunction and walk around as a normal person outside of the outfit without destroying everything. Because I don't think Spider-Man's ever punched anybody full force.
I don't think so either. The one thing I did like about the Amazing Spider-Man compared to the first Spider-Man was it wasn't a love story. Okay,
Yes,
I'm
thank
kind
you.
of sick and tired of superhero movies being love stories. There's always a love interest in every single movie, and
Yep.
that love interest causes the hero to make bad decisions because they have to either sacrifice the loved one to stop the villain, or they let the villain go and the villain fucks up more stuff. I'm tired of that.
Well, bro, you gotta save these hoes.
But look at what happened in Wars from saving these hoes.
Well, hey,
Half the
you save these
population.
hoes.
The only
You have
person,
to.
the only person who did not save these hoes got what he wanted.
Well, that's because he realized in order to get what he wanted, he had to make the ultimate sacrifice. See, they went down to make the ultimate sacrifice because they was out here saving these hoes.
And look where the world is now.
Man.
Look
See,
what we got.
Thanos is that nigga on. Thanos is that nigga that be like, you know what, bro? In order for me to get better pussy, I gotta cut this old pussy off. I can't keep hanging on this old pussy trying to get better pussy. So he had to let the old pussy go in order to make room for this new pussy. See, some niggas is greedy. And they be trying to hold on to the old pussy and get the new pussy at the same time. That's not how it works.
And you lose everything when you do that.
Yep.
You
Being
do.
greedy.
Which is why Thanos snapped his fingers on the nigga.
And you know what? You know what's a point they never, I don't think they addressed, or maybe it was there for us to absorb, was he knew he could have been a part of the disappearing too.
You know what? That's true. But
They
no,
they
maybe not though. See, the glove protects the wearer. So that automatically made him immune from the effects of it, because you got to remember the snap or whatever you do, it's to your desire. So maybe
that is true.
maybe he didn't want everybody to disappear. Maybe he wanted to have a whole galaxy in peace with no war, no violence, and if he snapped his fingers, that's what would happen. But he said, "Hey, in order for these populations to survive, you have to get rid of half of everybody on your planets." He's an exception to the rule, not only because of the glove, but because he's the last Titan. So therefore, you technically, by definition,
can't cut him in half.
Can't get rid of him.
Hey, do you think that's why his arm got burnt up? Just to kind of touch on that, because half his body did get jacked up.
I think the effects of it did blast. It did blast. Now, here's something that I don't think a lot of people paid attention to. The gauntlet got damaged.
Yes, it did. It got just crushed.
So that means we need a new gauntlet.
Oh hell!
And the same place where the Stormbreaker got made at, there's a mold for a new gauntlet,
and it's still there.
And it's still there.
Hey, how he do, old boy? Though he said, "Your hands are now mine."
No, okay. So since we talking Infinity Gauntlet and we talking Infinity movie, we gonna be pure nerds. We gonna talk about what we think gonna happen in the next movie. We gonna bring in some of the comic books in regards to it as well. And we gonna talk a little bit about this gauntlet. All right.
Okay, so I got a question before y'all dive into like this deep dive. Like I just rewatched the movie. So is Tony still on Titan?
Tony's still on Titan.
Yes, they're still.
He's chilling.
Tony,
so is he up there alone?
Tony and Strange is like. Did Strange disappear? I think Tony.
Yeah, Strange disappeared. Strange disappeared. He's up there with
Nebula.
Him and Nebula are up there.
Nebula's still alive.
Yep, him and Nebula.
So him and Nebula. But that's a vacant planet. So what are they gonna do alone?
They gonna get off that damn planet.
They gonna make it work, man.
I don't know if you want to knock no robotic cousin.
She's not all robotic, bro. She's not all robotic.
There's some flesh there.
It's not all robotic.
Well,
Not
is it
all
in the
of it.
places that count though? Like if it's
It
not the
is.
places that count,
No,
He just
it
called her a
doesn't matter.
flashlight.
it is. It is. You want to know why? Because I was reading the Infinity Crusade, which is technically the third part to this Infinity trilogy. And when Thanos had to go to the place where the stones were created by which he told Nebula to wait, basically wait in the car until I get back. If I'm not back within like an hour, raise up out. They had another person that was riding with them. Nebula, as soon as Thanos bounced, was like, okay, we're going to be here for a while. I need something to keep me occupied. And she started getting undressed, and her and old boy did it in the
Boom.
ship. They just went and gooned it out real quick. While Thanos is down here having this big, huge issue because his son stole his powers.
Mm-hmm.
Working with
Hey,
Lady
what was
Death.
his name? Gosh,
Son?
Thanos' son, because he was whooping his ass.
Oh,
Is it
yeah,
like Thane or something?
it's something.
Thane, yeah, I think
Yeah.
it is Thane. Hey,
No,
man.
no.
Hey, but
Okay.
wait,
Hey,
how
Go
did
ahead.
what's her name get tortured in the comic though? Nebula.
See,
In the movie, that was crazy. But
she
the
got
way
tortured similar to that in the comics as well too, but it was more like a contraption that she was connected to other than floating in space. I mean, we talking about long Marvel movie money here, bro, so they had to make it look fancy. Okay,
true.
because if you think about it, when they was on the planet with the collectors, the way Mantis and Drax, I thought Drax was dead. I'm not gonna lie to you, because
Man.
dog split up into small little meat chunks.
Hey, I was like, that soon already?
I thought he
Like,
off Drax off top. I didn't know he distorted
man,
reality for a minute to control dude, but that was crazy. Like I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm still mad about the way he did that. I
that
feel
was man,
I
and
feel bad.
unraveled him. Then did Mantis spiraled her out like a damn potato.
She didn't deserve that. She didn't ask for that, dog. They didn't have to do that to her. But so
she did ask for it.
she did no because she was basically one of the strongest people that they had at the moment to take down Thanos. Because
Yep.
by her being able to tap into his feelings and making him use his feelings against him is the reason why they even had a sliver of a chance of taking dude down. But for some odd reason, white men can't seem to keep their rage in check.
Bruh. Man, have all the hate that he's getting, he deserves every ounce of it. Bro.
I feel bad for Chris Pratt as a human being because
Oh
you
yeah.
technically can't go nowhere without somebody being mad at you. But was he wrong for that kind of hate, though?
Yes.
Yes, he was.
He was wrong. But let's be real here. That is his character to a T. They're anti-heroes.
Right.
Like they are for themselves and no one else. That's the whole Guardians of the Galaxy to a T. So he was not acting out of character, but it still was like, bruh, you could have.
Technically, this is all his fault anyway. Even before we got to that point of life,
Ooh,
still his fault.
How?
ooh.
Gamora said, "Shoot me." Why didn't he shoot her?
Because, bruh, he loved her.
See,
And
Man.
that goes back to
And
our
Wanda
previous
fought too.
point that
Hateful for
people's
these
love blinded them that they could not make the proper decision.
And can we
Love,
talk about how Thanos' love for Bubbles?
that's creepy.
Hey, that
That's
please,
creepy.
nobody's talked about that. That was twisted. Out of all things to turn it into, Bubbles. Every time. Bubbles. This big grown world smashing man or man thing Titan. Bubbles?
Wait a minute. Now, Baron, you might get this. Okay. So Thanos is from the moon of Titan, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Where else in pop culture currently right now or a planet slash moon named Titan exists?
It's not Jupiter, is it? You talking about like real life?
No, I'm talking in pop culture right now.
Pop culture, Titan.
The DLC for this game just dropped on Tuesday.
Oh man, Destiny.
So, do you think that some of the Guardians who are running around on Titan doing damage might be destroying descendants of Thanos?
Ooh. See, you know what, man? I'm okay. You already know I've adamantly put down my Destiny controller.
I can't put it down. I told y'all why.
Yeah, hey, no, and it's the time sink. We already know. We had that conversation. It's real. I feel it. But I do wish they would make a grand movie. Okay, so back to the point. Yes. Because first off, I think the Guardians are the bad guys. I've always felt that. Freaking vampire zombies that don't die because your magical robot and your giant robot god gave you superpowers to take over other planets.
Okay. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you. It is a very messed up situation because technically,
how many prayer circles have you broken up?
Man, I just got done breaking up a couple of them. Like I literally just broke up a few of them in the DLC.
They sitting there humming, praying to their God.
This is true.
Oh, we don't like that. We need to take them out.
That's white people, period. Though, if you don't like their religion, they try to. No, you can't. You can't celebrate your cultural. You're going to celebrate our culture, and that's what Guardians are. Guardians are resurrected white people.
Man, hey, you know what tripped me out? What solidifies that?
It's a Destiny thing.
Oh, go ahead.
No, Juan didn't know because Juan didn't jump into Destiny with us like the way I did. He picked it up for a minute. He is like, okay, this is cool, but this is not my cup of tea. I'll come back to this later. So that's Juan with Destiny. So he's not to the point like me and you have gotten so far in regards to the game.
Man, long story short, Juan, these dudes they're on a mission from a god that doesn't speak in any way, shape, or form other than this guy named the Speaker, which we don't know how he became the Speaker. He just kind of popped up and was like, believe in me. I am the one to give you the word.
So what y'all saying is Destiny is much like real life?
You know what? Yes.
Yeah.
I think white people will take over the earth. There's a God that we've never met, and then there's a dude named Jesus who's supposed to be God's son, and like, it's confusing, but I get it.
Colonialism at its best, bro.
It is.
Yeah. Except this is on a galactic scale.
Yeah. So this is a cosmic. This is a cosmic.
There
front.
you go, cosmic. That's a better
it's a cosmic front. So we out here getting our Carl Danvers on, and we on the wrong side of the fight. That's basically what it boils down to. We're on the wrong side.
Now before I jump back to
this motherfucker change his shit on. You can hold on to the fuck on.
Damn. Okay. All right. What did you say, Karen?
Right
no, but before I jump back onto these comic books and Thanos being a goon from Titan, I think the Traveler is going to be the main bad guy at the end of all of this, and that we're going to have to fight him.
I would not be mad at that storyline. I wouldn't. I would play that. I would play that storyline, and I would say all the BS you put me through is worth it, because that'll be a twist we don't see.
Can you imagine, like, because I could totally see Zavala being the one to stand strong for it, so he'd be the one you got to fight.
Nah, because Zavala is such a soldier that he'll ride with you only because he feels betrayed. It's like that guy who was in the Air Force and he lost his leg in a war, and then all of a sudden you come home and it's like, we ain't got nothing for you. So now they turn into a political person who's like completely against the government.
Got you.
That's who Zavala would end up being. If we go with the Traveler is really a goon.
Bro, why did I just picture Zavala in like a flannel shirt with like the vest with all the pockets and like a camera and a press pass?
You're gonna have to come get Zavala out of his shack on a farm on EOS, just out there Like,
with a cloaked, so no cameras can see him, no satellites can see him. It's all,
it's all cloaked.
turn your
Fans
phones
out
off.
there. All right. Now,
Kill your ghost.
speaking of a cabin out in the middle of nowhere, after reading the comics and finishing up the Infinity War, the Infinity Gauntlet, and the Infinity Crusade, I come to the realization that the ending of Infinity Wars is actually the ending of the whole movie.
Yep.
Okay. After everything is done in regards to it, Nebula eventually corrects everything. After she finally gets the gauntlet and put everything back the way it was, Thanos actually loses his powers and is living on a planet. Is he back on Titan? I think
It
he's
was
back.
way too green.
Yeah,
It was really green.
But remember, she fixed everything. So
Oh.
Titan probably got a little bit of life. So basically, he got put back on the planet where Dog is by himself. Now, one thing that the movie eliminates that the comics didn't was the love interest of Mistress Death.
Yes, I was waiting on that.
Now, here's a theory that I came across that I kind of thought made a little sense, but I want to see what you two guys think. So, in Thor Ragnarok, we found out that Thor had a sister named Hela. Okay?
Mhm.
Hela was the epitome of death. She was nothing but pure evil, pure death, the whole 9 yards. I'm thinking that Mistress Death is Hela. Okay?
That would make sense. She looks like her too.
Right. She does have the look. She's been locked away the whole 9 yards. And it would make sense because she destroyed Asgard, thus being the reason why this whole thing is done. So now she can be in a comatose state because thanks to the death of Superman, nobody's really dead in comics.
Facts.
She could be in that comatose state where Thanos kept trying to get her to speak. So instead of turning it from Thanos trying to get her to speak, Thanos is trying to bring her back alive. Thanos is trying to appeal to her. So she can still be the love interest that triggers everything, or at least somebody he smashed. Something. Okay?
Yeah.
So that's how I feel like. I feel like she's there, but she's not there the way us comic fans feel like she should be.
And you know what? That would be an easy pill to swallow for the run-of-the-mill person watching it.
Right.
It would be easier than having to create death. Right. You know, and then the mystery, like, because doesn't Mistress Death actually become death?
Yeah, she is the living embodiment of death. Now,
there you go.
Here's another thing that I can think of. Lily, go downstairs if you got to go potty. Here's another thing that I thought of. A bunch of people just upped and fucking faded away, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where did that energy go? That energy has to go somewhere. What if... Go ahead.
Oh, no, keep going. I was going to say the fact that they, why would they turn to dust and not just disappear?
Fact.
Like, why put so much emphasis on them turning into dust? Like, why make it so visual? Other than for us as fans watching. But there's another reason behind it. I mean, this is a movie.
Right.
And everything's symbolic.
And in so many words, that energy, that entity, that combination could be what creates Mistress Death. She is the living embodiment of death now, and all the energy, just like Parallax or the original Sin storyline that the Avengers went through, where when all the mutants lost their powers created a new entity, and that entity needed to be destroyed. So I'm feeling that could be a direction they could go, or it could just be us reaching and they just wanted to let you know, like, Vision's dead, but these niggas just disappeared.
Man, hey, bro, when I heard Spider-Man's voice crack, I damn near cried, bro. I've always heard my parents always talk like certain moments really pull at them as a parent. You know, like I'm a fairly new dad. I probably got like a year and a half in. But when I heard that boy, because let's be honest, he's a boy,
he's a teenager,
sit there and his voice cracked and was begging not to die. I was like, holy hell. Like, I looked at my wife, I was like, where are my kids at? I wanna go hug my kids.
You went home and hugged your kids, bruh?
Man.
Hey, that low key is the saddest fading away in the whole.
Thank you. Hands down. I ain't seen nothing sadder.
I think that was the whole reason for the fading away. To give you that we're pulling at people we care about. Like the Black Panther being such an important person to the African American community, he faded away on us.
No, hey, first of all, low key, when we were sitting in the movie theater, bro, nobody cared until Peter Parker disappeared. Oh, and when Groot disappeared. Groot and Peter Parker died. That
because
was like
because they were kids. Because it was kids, bro. That means that nobody was immune to the effects of Thanos. That's what it boiled down to.
But I feel like they faded away and they all stuck in the Soul Stone, and I think that Baby Gamora has taken the place. I think Baby Gamora is the movie version of Lady Death. I think that would be an easy scenario for people to digest.
I can roll with that
too. Because I feel like people, like a lot of people who go see these movies don't dive deep into the comic book world as the comic book nerd. Because like when you see the movie, when you look at it from a comic book standpoint, you be like, okay, well they took this part out and they took that part out, and that's not true to form of the comic book. And what I try to get people to understand, like when they be selling me, or it wasn't like the time, I'm like, they have to do things for Hollywood,
right? Because when this Marvel initiative
go ahead. Right. It is like if you go by the comic book, it's like, well, Thanos was that nigga. You kill everybody. You just be the nigga. You run through the Avengers. But you have to do things for comic book purposes, so it looks like. And I dig how they gave him. You felt his purpose. Like he didn't feel like the bad guy to me in this movie. Much like when we saw Black Panther, Killmonger didn't feel like
he wasn't, bro.
He didn't feel like a villain to me because he had a purpose for what he did, and I like how it was like, okay, well he's technically the bad guy because he's supposed to be the villain because we're supposed to cheer for Black Panther as the hero, but he had a purpose for what he was doing. Like, look, they didn't enslave my people, and you got the resources to help my people get up out this situation, so you need to come up off that and help. If you don't want to do it, then I'm gonna be king and I'm gonna show you how we're gonna get it done. It's like that. I feel that. That's revolutionary. Like that's a true revolutionary. You take the power in your own hands when you got the power. And
you know what?
Is like, hey, this world needs balance, and you gotta crack a few eggs to make an omelet, but I have to bring balance to the world.
Facts.
You know what I love the most?
Go ahead.
You know what I love the most about his portrayal in here? He wasn't a megalomaniac. He wasn't on that whole like typical I'm a ultimate bad guy. I'm doing this for total control. He was calm, threw them hands, and was like, I'm gonna save y'all. He was basically Black Snake Moan.
But yeah.
I can't even look at him as Black Snake Moan.
He was basically Samuel Jackson for the universe.
He got a point though. This chick had a problem.
I will save you.
She couldn't control it. Chained her up to save her. It's like,
I will save you.
I mean, that's how they used to help people kick heroin addictions back in the days. You chain them up to a pole, and they stayed there till they shook it. So Thanos out here just chaining up heroes.
Like, I will fix you. Balance.
I will fix you. All right. Quick question. Since now we talking Thanos, this came across my table. Now, a lot of people say that due to the fact that Marvel is based in the real world and real problems was coming up, they felt that Thanos would not have been able to pull off the mess he pulled off if this was DC. Do you think that's true or false?
Fact.
Yeah, because Batman would have stopped him, bro.
Hell yeah.
Isn't Batman Tony? Isn't Batman?
No.
Nope. Batman don't got the ego.
That's because he needs therapy. Batman needs therapy. That is going to be the name of the next comic book or the next episode we do. It's called Batman Needs Therapy. Batman is suffering
Batman
from
Batman
PTSD.
Oh, to the max, bro.
Yeah, Batman is definitely a sociopath.
Okay,
But
let me.
that's just
I got my argument right here for why Batman would have simply stopped Thanos.
Okay.
He stopped the oh boy with the Omega Protocol. God damn it, I can't believe forgetting his name. He was the origin of Thanos. I'm blanking.
Darkseid.
He stopped Darkseid by simply threatening him with destroying his own planet.
But Thanos don't care about his planet. It's dead already.
Right, Thanos
That's not gonna work.
Dead.
So that's not gonna work.
Yeah, because Thanos did just kill his daughter.
Batman
Good point.
Like, fam threw his whole daughter off the building.
Oh, awful. And watched her.
For the greater good. He shed some thug tears. But he talked.
I mean, I feel like
Hit her with the mist.
DC would have stopped Thanos just because I feel like DC feels like everything has to have a happy ending.
But it's so dark.
That's why nobody ever died.
Visually.
Nobody died.
No.
It's visually dark.
People die all the time.
Yeah, right. He's right. It's visually dark.
But as in tones, people do always come back, though.
Nobody died.
People die all the time,
I thought Joker
Arsenal got his arm cut off.
Now he's the Red Hood. I thought Joker killed him. Joker beat him to death with a crowbar. Now he's running around as the Red Hood.
No, that was because of the Lazarus pit.
Died.
Joker did not kill him. A guy with an auto dialer killed him. We already cleared this up yesterday. Oh, you didn't know? You didn't know that, Baron?
Oh, damn.
You didn't know the story of the auto dialer?
Oh.
Oh, okay. So, I'll tell you real quickly because we are on a comic book show. So, during the run of Jason Todd as Robin, a lot of fans of Batman did not like Jason Todd because they felt he was a complete carbon copy of Grayson. Which it was. His backstory was damn near identical, minus the fact that he's stealing tires off the Batmobile. Okay?
Which was gangster.
Told you one. Niggas don't realize, like, you stole wheels off the Batmobile, bro. You got skills.
The fact that you got it all.
Facts. See, this is why I fuck with Baron. All right? So, no, Juan didn't get it last night, but now he got it. All right. So, they didn't like the fact that he was basically he was Grayson 2.0. So, the writers came up with a contest. They said, hey, we're going to have Joker kidnap Jason Todd, and you as the readers get to decide his fate. Call this number and press 1 for him to live, press 2 for him to die. When it was all said and done, Jason Todd died by 31 votes.
Holy shit.
31 votes. It later came out that somebody actually used an auto dialer to call in to vote for Jason Todd's death. Because technology was so old and archaic back there, they have no way to prove how many actual calls was from the auto dialer.
Bruh.
So
the caucasity.
The
caucasity?
Bruh.
The caucasity.
The caucasity.
So,
bro,
one person
that wasn't nobody, but that was a white dude. I'm sorry.
But that just holds up the theory that nobody dies, fam.
Well,
like,
that's because
okay.
So in Jason Todd's defense, after the writers found out, it's like, oh shit, he died by an auto dialer. We can't keep this. We can't keep this one out there because we will never live it up. They brung him back with the Lazarus pit.
Lazarus pit.
Ra's al Ghul.
But see, come on, man. Hey,
the Lazarus pit has always been there.
Yup, biblical.
No, I get that. It has. It made its debut in the Justice League, which is why Superman had a fucking brain fart and tried to kill everybody, especially Batman.
Oh, look at you.
Damn.
You know what? You're right. If you go back and look at the Justice League movie, they created a Lazarus pit.
I thought that's what it was. I'm like,
shit.
that's the only way you bring people back. You throw them in this pit and they emerge.
They created Lazarus pit.
Yeah, I saw a few comic movies. I watched a few of the anime movies on
I'm not
Netflix.
mad.
I saw.
I'm not mad at you, bro. That's the best ones.
They use
Man, I'm
language.
loving the wisdom here.
Like I
Like
didn't.
this is
But
some
Juan
deep
just
wisdom.
pulled the
that
jewel.
shows you no, like, fam, if I was the writer, I'm like, all right, fam, the hell of high water, they voted you off the island, bro. You gotta go.
But that's
You dead.
Auto dialer.
but that's
Death
what the
Robins everywhere.
Which is why I know that nobody is actually dead, and I feel like if in this Avengers movie, if you died pre-snap, it should be over for you.
and I think they will, but that's because you can.
Like
They gotta
like
reset the
Loki
timeline.
needs to stay dead. Heimdall needs to stay dead, and they killed Vision twice. For the love of him, don't bring him back.
But you know he gonna come back as the gray Vision, as the colorless Vision.
But no,
You already know that's written.
All right, so here's the thing: all of them have to come back.
Is he gonna
only
take
because
L's like he did in this movie?
fan Black Panther took L's in 2 whole movies, and we still want a sequel. So
Hey,
you can take L's.
he lost. He basically lost
First
that
of
both
all,
fights.
Black Panther, yeah, Bucky was all over him in that movie. Which is why he didn't go help Tony at the end when they was jumping. He was like, you know
Stop
what,
it.
back to jail because
So what you
they
tell-
had them
Caught
hands
them
for
winner hands.
So what you telling me is because Bucky was handing out them hands, BP had no choice but to let that nigga in his gates because he was like, if I can't beat
Bro.
dude, let me at least hire him.
Oh,
That what you
my
saying?
All I'm
God.
saying is it was evident, fam. Like he could have went and helped Tony from getting thrashed by Cap and Bucky, but he was like, "Nah, I'm a handcuff folks."
No,
I'ma
bro,
take him
that's a
back
white
and then-
that's a white man's fight, dog. That fight ain't got nothing to do
That-
with him.
That
You
is
can-
true.
That was a white man's fight, dog. You don't
They
get
killed
in
his
between.
pop.
Okay, so he went after the nigga that
went
killed his pops. He didn't give a
Can we
fuck about
acknowledge
Cap
that
and
old
Bucky.
boy was the best villain ever?
You and Tony got
Claw?
the same gripes, fam.
No, not
Bucky-
Claude.
Because
Bucky
Claw
set
was
the bomb off.
was
Killed
funny
your
as
pop.
hell. And,
No, I'm talking about
yeah.
old boy who caused Civil War in the movie.
Oh,
That was genius.
Uh,
With a stroke of a pen
Yeah, that-
and a couple of words, he
yeah,
brought
that
down
was
the
definitely-
he brought down the Avengers.
Yeah.
yeah, I still like the comic book reason for the Civil War better.
Mm.
That shit was
Mm.
epic.
I mean, but that's like Hollywood ain't stupid, man. I mean, as far as X-Men go, they pretty dumb, but
Oh,
Marvel
damn.
ain't stupid.
Well, that
Hey, look, bro.
and I'm glad you brought up the X-Men.
X-Men
No,
have
no.
had 75 reboots, and none of them are decent.
But this is okay, and I'm glad you brought that up. All right. Now, one thing as a huge X-Men fan is new Avengers War movie and the outcome that's current on right now does a lot that can definitely benefit Marvel as a whole. One, you eventually have to reboot everybody, right? We already have stated several times, people don't stay dead. Folks is gonna come back. Whole nine yards.
Wait, what you talking about?
I'm getting there.
Heck no, man.
I'm getting there.
Don't reboot everybody. Niggas need to stay dead, fam.
I feel you, but we talking about Marvel. They're not gonna stay dead. We just said
And
that.
money.
Right, and money. But now that you recently just bought Fox and you have the rights to the mutants now,
Mm.
you can use this reboot to introduce mutants as a whole. There's also a key storyline that I've been talking about for years, like to the point where our buddy Chalk is actually sick and tired of me talking about this storyline because I live and die by it. All right, is the
House of M.
For those who don't know, there was a particular storyline that occurred with mutants around about the same time that the Avengers being disassembled occurred. Now, the Avengers being disassembled storyline can kind of be what the next Avengers 4 movie is to a certain extent. Because once everybody beats Thanos, they come back together. Everybody like, deuces, fuck you, I don't want nothing to do with this anymore. One of the big key things is Wanda and Vision. You technically do not have to bring Vision back because, let's be honest, Vision died before the erasal. So I feel like anybody that died before the erasal shouldn't come back. If you let Vision stay dead, and the fact that Wanda killed him, you get that moment when Wanda snapped. Okay? And because she snapped, she rewrote. This would be a fantastic way to introduce the mutants because you eventually have to recast Wolverine anyway, right?
True.
So this is when you introduce your new Wolverine. You take key mutants who showed up. Professor X is technically out the picture. You bring over old boy that played Magneto. You got
Assbender.
Yep. You got Assbender. I hate his name. You bring over your X-Men already. You bring over your mutants. In the beginning, you have Professor X because when Wanda breaks, that's who you take Wanda to. Okay? Remember, her brother also died. So technically, you're kind of on the fence because her brother plays a key factor in the House of M, but he died long before this happened. So you might have to bring Vision back if you're going to bring Quicksilver back. I don't know. Movie cinema will work something out. Always do. All right? We'll probably find out he never died. We'll find out he never died. He was just injured.
That's what I hate about movies.
He was
I'm going
injured.
to take a bullet on the screen and you're going to tell me he never died?
He didn't die. He was just injured.
He was too fast for the bullet, but he did.
Magneto came and got his son. He took him back to Genosha.
Now that would explain away. I'd be okay with that.
I have a question for my fellow comic book enthusiasts. Now, seeing that, even though we probably don't want this, and when they do the X-Men with a Marvel logo on it, they're probably going to reboot it.
They should. They should and they shouldn't.
But for Hollywood purposes, they're probably going to reboot it and they're probably going to recast it. Since, they're not going to get Hugh Jackman to come back. He's like, Sam, I did this shit for 10 years. He didn't go nowhere. So I'm out. I'm done. I quit. Now, if you had to recast the original X-Men that they used, like certain characters that were used already, and you just have to recast them for the reboot, who would you pick?
See, here's the thing. If you pay attention to the last trilogies, the last 3 X-Men movies that came out, with the exception of Wolverine and the Bar, nobody in the last movies need to get recast. You can keep all of them. You can keep all of them. That's the cool thing about they rebooted it on their own. So the only key person who really needs to be restaffed would be Wolverine. Because old man Logan... I want
a short Wolverine.
Old man Logan just died.
True.
So we okay with that.
Who do you get to play Wolverine?
See, that's a tough one now, Doug.
I need somebody short, bro.
He wants somebody short.
I need a 5'2" dude out there rolling around, causing problems, cussing.
Fam, you're not finna get Danny DeVito.
That's what I'm telling you. A fit Danny DeVito would be fucking perfect.
First of all, you show me a fit Danny DeVito.
First of all, Wolverine is too big of a marquee name in the X-Men universe for them to get a nigga who is 5'2".
They not gonna do. They gonna do the Hobbit camera tricks if they really feel like they need to do that. Now, the crazy part is one person who I kind of was really leaning towards, but is kind of playing somebody else. I actually was leaning towards Tom Hardy being Wolverine.
Ooh, that would be solid.
But he's Venom now.
Yeah, but
that's Venom in a whole nother universe.
He gonna play this shitty ass Venom.
Now,
how do you have Venom without Spider-Man?
Well, it's tricky. It's tricky. It's real tricky because it depends. If they pick up where the Venom movie is after Spider-Man and Venom has fought for the first time, and now Spider-Man no longer has the symbiote, and Eddie Brock has it, and this is Eddie getting used to the symbiote, I'm okay with that. Because that's basically what it seems like it's doing. It seems like this is Eddie and Venom fusing for the first time.
True.
Okay? Seems like it's fusing for the first time. I'm okay with that because he got to get used to it. And then, if they do it right, If they do it right, towards the end, this is when they get the situation where we are going after Spider-Man. And when you do Spider-Man Homecoming 2, here's your villain.
Wait,
Only
Venom?
way I'm gonna be happy with this movie, 100%, is if I get a cameo from Spider-Man in his outfit. He got to be an outfit.
And I think you should. If you don't do it in the beginning, you should close the movie out with it. It should be the ending credits. It should be the focus point of the whole reason why we sat here and watched Eddie Brock become Venom.
Yep.
That's the only thing. He should be at the end.
Because otherwise, you're creating a whole universe. Or, hey, real talk. What if they create a time warp? I was talking about this with Travis, and I was like, what if this is years past what's going on at Homecoming?
True.
That would be a quick, cheap way to explain it away.
True.
Oh, y'all think Sony thought that too?
No, hell no. It's Sony.
Like this is Sony. So as awesome as the idea is, it would not be a good idea.
And I don't know how much input Marvel really has with this project, because I know they did the joint project with Spider-Man to get him to come back to the MCU, but I don't know if Venom is a part of the MCU or will have any dealings with those. I think it'll be dope if, because like we've been saying, eventually you're going to move past, like, it's been 10 years to get to Thanos. Thanos is here for this movie and the next movie, but we have to go somewhere after that.
True.
So,
well, we're going in outer space.
John Cena is going to play Wolverine in like 2025. Just put that out there. And if it happens, you heard it first.
No, I cannot be John Cena.
Well,
John
Cena will be Wolverine.
My soul would hurt, bro.
No, because
my soul aches at the thought of that.
No, I can't see that. If you want a good player, somebody who I feel can handle the role, and it's actually would be perfect timing, being the fact that the show that he's popular for is actually getting ready to end because this is their last season. Jon Snow.
Ooh.
Kit Harington would actually be a good person to play Wolverine, especially when we go through those Japanese years, those savage years, or even better, when we start from the beginning, when we do his true origin story. Jon Snow is perfect for that. Because technically, Jon Snow, the actual character, has been Wolverine.
Wait, run that by me.
If you pay attention to Jon Snow's character on the Game of Thrones, he has basically been Wolverine. His origin story is very similar to Wolverine's, minus his mutant abilities kicking in at a young age. He go live on the wall when Wolverine went to go live in the mining factory to find himself.
Shit.
His problems followed him there, just like his problems followed him to the wall. He fell in love with a woman he should not have ever been dealing with, just like Jon Snow fell in love with the wildling. Okay? The wildlings eventually was the downfall. Jon Snow. Why are you saying...
It's the wrong John.
Why are you saying Cena? Why Cena, bruh? I cannot let Cena...
Well, then I'm going to say John McAvoy.
Because Dwayne The Rock Johnson will get him this job.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson works for DC. If anything, John Cena would be somewhere in DC. Matter of fact,
he's got
John Cena.
First of all, who doesn't love The Rock? Who doesn't love The Rock? Tell me who don't love The Rock.
The Rock.
He's starting to be in too many movies for me.
He does the same role in every movie.
Bruh, they tried to redo Die Hard, but gave him one leg.
Ooh, what movie was that?
I don't know if it's out yet, but they're basically, long story short, it looked like Die Hard in a building.
Everything looks like Die. Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yes, with the one leg making the impossible jump.
Have you realized The Rock does every movie that's a reboot of something from our childhood? True. Rampage, the video game, Jumanji, the Die Hard movie you're talking about. Like, Rock reboots everything. His life is a reboot.
And because white people love Dwayne Johnson, man.
He's the right amount of chocolate where it don't make you sick.
Right. He's the perfect black guy. Like he's not a nigga, but he's not actually.
I'm so mad. He's the right amount of chocolate, though.
But like, The Rock is the equivalent to Barack Obama, which is while Barack Obama was president, he's the right kind of black. He's the right kind of black to be president. And he wasn't, he wasn't a dark skinned nigga that smoked cigarettes that fixed cars. And,
so we ain't gonna see Shannon Sharp as a superhero movie.
Shannon Sharp will never be president.
Fam, we got Terry Crews. That's why.
Ooh,
Terry Crews is our Shannon Sharp,
and I think it's only because he was a trained gymnast and everybody knows it.
No, he got the role because he was touched by movie execs. And he
did come out and say that.
He came out about it.
Is that why they put him in this new Deadpool movie? Because we got his balls fondled?
That's why he's in it, dog.
Hey, so like,
G.I. Joe
plus 2 strength, bro.
Damn, not +2. Like, dog. Somebody used a trap card on him.
The Shadow Realm. They should have never gave you niggas Yu-Gi-Oh.
They used a trap card on Terry Crews. I'm mad at dog. It's okay. No, but for real. Because think about it, dog. Going back to The Rock, bro does reboots of old movies. Rampage, Jumanji, Baywatch, Jim and the Hologram.
Oh, damn. I forgot about Baywatch.
Hercules, G.I. Joe. Journey to the Center of the Earth.
He even rebooted The Mummy.
Yep.
White people cut extremely big checks.
I'm not mad at them.
When white people cut big checks, how can you say no, fam?
Think about it.
Because I would have said no to Doom, because Doom sucked.
I ain't gonna sit here and lie live on the radio, bro. I would have took that Doom money.
You have to take Doom money.
It wasn't. Okay, I'll take that back. It depends on how big the check is, because it wasn't a good video.
That was only his 4th or 5th movie when he did Doom, though.
It just proves, like, okay, here's a prime example of white people cutting big checks again. John Cena is slated to play Duke Nukem.
I'm okay with
Who
that.
cares about
I'm not bothered by that.
I'm okay with that, though.
I mean, I'm not mad at it, but did anybody play Duke Nukem as a kid?
I did. I love that game.
Yeah. I used to always go to the little scene where the girl was dancing.
The club.
I wasn't a fan.
I used to love blowing up pigs. That's because you didn't think outside. You didn't step outside the box and play games that were not the norm for certain groups. Like you sometimes have to go. No, I'm serious.
I did.
Like, sometimes you got to go play a game that you didn't think. Like you sitting here and you waiting on the new NBA Live '98 to come out, but you finding out all your friends is on some Final Fantasy VII. You don't know nothing about this game, but you say to yourself, "Dog, I'm not
Final
going to mess
Fantasy
with."
VIII changed my life.
But I'm not.
I wasn't in the Final Fantasy.
Like, exactly.
Stuff like that. But it's not that they weren't good games. It just didn't pique my interest. Like
right. And I'm not saying that you're wrong for that. I'm just saying
Duke
Nukem was probably one of them games.
007. Like,
right.
007 was the shit.
Because I played that slappers only.
But that was a common game. That was the game that was Call of Duty, that the way Call of Duty is now. Like right now, the common game.
Call of Duty's terrible.
But it's the game that everybody buys. Call of Duty, some form of basketball, Madden, and damn, that's basically it. Those are 3 games that are always bought no matter what. Every black person in America, when they're trying to sell their PlayStation or Xbox because they need money to get a pair of Jordans, one of them 3 games, if not all 3 of them games, is usually the game that they're giving it.
He said
giving
for
it with
a pair of Jordans, I quit.
Wait, why is niggas hawking their system for Jays?
because they baby mama is the one who bought them the system. The games that they are
Oh,
playing are
damn.
about 3 to 4 years old because
Not the old 2K.
they don't want to go out and buy the new version of the game because first of all, they can't go into Best Buy no more because they got caught stealing. They don't know anybody. They don't hang out with their
Tone,
homies no
is
more.
this your life, bro? Is this your life? Like, you can't go back to the Best Buy? Is that what you telling me?
Clearly, you know that's not my life, so don't even go there. Like I'm actually thinking about.
I was just asking, were you not allowed back in the Best Buy, bro?
I am always allowed to Best Buy. They love me, okay? I'm thinking about getting a second job with them again. Matter of fact, I think Trav or Baron, one of them two work at Best Buy. So
I worked at GameStop. I made that sacrifice for all of our sins.
Yeah, you gonna.
Hey, I
start
used to
telling-
want to work at GameStop.
No, bro, I did until I did. It was one of those jobs that I quit by just walking away. I didn't even tell anybody. I just left.
Stop going to work.
Man, that place was taxing, bro. That was one of the worst. I crunch numbers for a living now. Literally look at paper all day and check signatures. This is more entertaining and more healthy than working at GameStop. I actually got part of a class action lawsuit, bro. They paid us out.
What?
That's how bad work.
What
Bro,
was so bad about
okay,
it?
when they go into the back,
Wait a minute. Story time with Baron, GameStop
Yes.
years. Now go.
So when they go into the back, there is a small chance, at least when I was working there, that there was inventory in the bathroom. Facts. So yo Nintendo Switch got doo-doo particles on it.
Yeah.
Facts. Bro, your break room is next to your bathroom, which is might as well be a porta potty. Facts. They were understaffed.
Hey, but
Bro.
you know what though? All GameStops are hella small.
Next time you go to your local GameStop, give one of the employees a hug and a card. You got Teachers Appreciation Week. You need your GameStop Employee Appreciation Week.
I'm not going
Them people
back
is
to
slaved out.
I'm not going back
I'm
to
not
GameStop.
touching them niggas. They smell like JUDAS.
I'm not.
And that's because they break room is next to the doo-doo chamber.
I'm not giving my hard-earned money to anybody that participates in slave labor. So
Yes,
from now
thank
on,
you.
all my games will be bought from Best Buy
Which they get 20% off anyway.
Right, I got Gamers Club unlocked, so I get 20%. So I don't pay full price.
Never.
All right.
That's
So
a homie hookup.
that being said,
I stopped buying CDs anyway.
they even make CDs, dog. Do people still buy CDs?
I do. I'm looking at my big crit Forever is a Mighty Long Time right now.
I was talking about in a reference. I go buy hard copies of video games, but
Oh, got you. I'll go to record stores. We got one in my neighborhood, and I support. Shout out.
All right.
Nope.
So,
hey man, they better start giving rappers a cut of these streams.
they do.
Apple Music $9.99 a month, and
They do.
telling me I can still got to buy a whole album.
That's a conversation we'll save for next week edition of the Def Fresh Show, as we will probably do it on Wednesday because Thursday we'll be at Deadpool. Next week's edition.
Work on Wednesday.
You suck as a human being. We'll find it out. Next episode of the Def Fresh Show, we will be covering the 10 for 10. If you've been paying attention to social media lately, you've been seeing a lot of people posting 10 albums for 10 days. We specifically did ours catered around hip-hop, but what we'll do is we'll run down all 10 of our albums and why we selected each one of those albums as part of our 10 for 10s. That being said, people, we are going to go ahead and close tonight's episode. This was an awesome episode. We've learned a lot today. Deathstroke's perv. Beast Boy's a creep. Destiny is over
Hey,
here.
Is that what Deadpool wants to fuck a unicorn? Like, I have questions now. Because Dog really been heavy on trying to fuck this unicorn. Like, I don't know if that's still from the comics.
I think the real question is,
just be on some bull.
All right. So this is what we'll do. For next week's episode, of the of the Urban Recon Squad, we will dive into is Deadpool. Okay,
Mm.
because a lot of people don't know who Deadpool is. They just think that he's an R-rated movie that Marvel threw out there just to see how we as fans will react to it. But we'll actually dive in. Hopefully, we can get Trav to join us next week as well, so we can go ahead and get real nerdy up in this piece. But
Nope.
Deadpool sound like a thing at the sperm bank when you have like a really low sperm count. They just
Damn.
put you in the section that's called the Deadpool.
Damn.
yeah, with that being
Savagery.
said, people, I'd like to say thank you for tuning in tonight, and we will
Makes
talk
sense
to
though, doesn't it?
you guys later.
Peace.
Peace. I hate you people.
Welcome